Hakadosh Boker Or, Masechet Nazir Daf Lamedchet Amud Aleph 38a1. We're just going to start on the last line on Lamed Zayin Amud Bet, Rabbi Shimon. We're now going to explain according to the Shita of Rabbi Shimon. So says Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon, according to Rabbi Shimon, that he does not hold of the concept of being mitzaref, different foods for a shiur kezait, because according to him, the chiyuv malkut is going to come even if you eat any amount. Meaning, according to everybody else, you have to eat a kazait. If you ate a kazait, you get makot. What about, according to the shita, that you don't need a kazait and you already get makot? So if it is that you're going to come and get makot even without a kazait, so therefore, what's going to happen? So it says here, mikol asher ye'aseh my darishbe. What's he going to make as a drasha? So Amar Lecha is going to tell you, Haomi Baile, he needs it. Leolam eno nazir. Mikulan. He comes and he says like this. He says, right, this pasuk is coming to teach you that really be'emet, he's not going to be a nazir through his neder until he's going to become a nazir from everything. What does that mean? All the different things that the Torah prohibited, whether it's going to be a nazir from tiglachat, from tumat yain, from all these things, a person will become a nazir. Okay? Until here. So one more time, according to Shitat Rabbi Shimon, if you do not hold of tziruf, so then what does it learn then from the pasuk of Mikol Asher Ye'aseh? What are you making a drasha? So he comes and he says that you only become a nazir if you abstain from everything. Everything means that you're not going to take haircuts, you're not going to drink wine, you're not going to everything. You have to do everything in one. If you're only going to accept upon yourself certain things, walo, it's not nazirut. Okay? Amar Rabbi Avhu, Amar Rabbi Lazar. Says Rabbi Avhu in the name of Rabbi Lazar, Kor reviyot shebatorah en heter mitzaref li'isur. Anytime when there's going to be an isur Torah, that the shiur of the isur Torah is a revi'it, heter is not mitzaref li'isur, chutz mervi'it shebiyayin, except for the revi'it of the nazir. Shari amrat Torah, but the Torah says mishrat. What is mishrat? You're soaking whatever it is, whether it's going to be the bread, whatever it is, you're soaking it in wine. So therefore, it's going to become prohibited. So Ma'ika ben Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Lazar asked the Gemara, what's the difference between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Lazar? Rabbi Yochanan said the exact same thing as well. If you remember, we already learned this. When Rabbi Yochanan comes and he says that heter mitzaref to isur, and therefore, so now what's the difference between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Lazar? Rabbi Lazar just told you the exact same thing, and we said this in the name of Rabbi Avhu in the name of Rabbi Yochanan above in 35b. Lamed Yamul Bet. So says the Gemara, Ike benau de Rabbi Yochanan merabeh afilu ochalin, Rabbi Lazar mashkin im midechrin lo. No, the difference is Rabbi Yochanan said heter mitzaref li'isur, even food to drink, a solid bread with a drink. Meaning, even if you have bread soaked in wine, and now you have a full kazait, you're going to be chayav. That is shitat Rabbi Yochanan. According to Rabbi Lazar, he doesn't say that. Rabbi Lazar is talking about liquids with liquids. Meaning, if you're going to have water, and you added water to the wine, and now you have the revi'it, you're going to be chayav. Why are you going to be chayav? Because at the end of the day, right, what's going to happen is that you're going to, how do you call this? You're going to be chayav because you're being mitzaref the liquids together, but not a solid to liquid. So solid to a liquid, that was Rabbi Yochanan in Lamed Hamul Bet. But liquid to a liquid is Rabbi Elazar over here. Okay, that's the difference between them. Okay, mashkin in midei acharin elo. Amar Rabbi Elazar, says Rabbi Elazar, eser reviyoten. Do you know that there's 10 things, 10 halachot that have to do with the revi'it? V'nakit Rav Kana bidei, and Rav Kana came and he took them in his hands, which means that in order not to come and not to forget them, he said, chamesh sumkata, chamesh kivarta. There are 5 of them, which is going to be with a red liquid, whether we're talking about blood or wine, and 5 of them, they're going to be with liquids which are like white. What does that mean? Water or oil. Right? Okay, oil is not really white, but it's basically like it's not red. Okay? He wanted to come and he wanted to basically, oil is not really clear either. As I'm saying, it's more yellowish, but okay, it depends on the oil, or greenish, depends on the oil. But the concept though is that you have like the red, right, which is either going to be blood or red wine. There's also white wine, but again, we're not usually the mishubach. Chamesh sumkata. So when you're going to talk about the 5 which are going to be the red, nazir, Ve'oseh Pesach shehoru b'mikdash umetu. Right? This is basically, we're going to come and we're going to say, Nazir is a revit of wine. Okay? Oseh Pesach. What does it mean exactly, the Oseh Pesach? Right? Also, to do with Asiyah here, to do with Pesach, is bringing the Korban Pesach. To do with the Korban Pesach, also is going to be a revit of wine. Damar of Yehuda Mar Shmuel, Arbat Kosotalat, so it should be a revit. You need a revit. So basically, Pesach, right? The night of Pesach, well, it's coming up. Yeah, what do you do on the night of Pesach? Revit of wine. And you're going to need 4 cups, right, of reviyot. Okay? Number 3, because one more time, he basically said it all in one shot. Nazir ve'oseh Pesach shehoru b'mikdash v'metu. But those are 5 different halachot. One of them is the Nazir. Okay? Well, yeah, of course. Red wine, l'chatchila. 100%. Red wine. Yeah? Or rosé is red. Right? But okay, one more time. So you got Nazir. Oseh Pesach is the second one, which is talking about the Pesach. Shehoru. What does it mean, shehoru? If a person comes and he drinks a revit of wine, al yoreh, you're not allowed to paskin halacha. If you remember, I told you that's why Rabbi Zimmerman, right, of Gateshead, now he became the head of Beddin of the Kosher Federation of KF in England. He basically told us when he came to Gibraltar that he would never drink a revit of wine, not even on Pesach, not even Kiddush. Why? Because he was the rabbi of the city. As being the rabbi of the city, you always have to be ready that somebody's going to come knocking on your door asking for a halacha. So imagine right now, he's on the night of Pesach, he drinks, somebody knocks on the door, they have to ask him halacha in whatever it is. What's he going to say now? I apologize, but I just drank a revit of wine, so I'm going to... Yeah? One more time. Shehoru shatar revi'it yain al yoreh. If you're going to drink a revit of wine, you're not allowed to paskin halacha until it goes away, until it loses its effect. Right? Again, once a person drinks wine, he cannot be posek. So his mind, right, is not there. To do with Purim, there's no obligation. Yeah? Bamigdash, number Dalet. There's no obligation. So that was number 3. Number 4, Bamigdash. What does it mean Bamigdash? We know that if you drank a revit of wine and you go into the Bet HaMikdash, you're chayav mita b'dei shamayim. You're not allowed to go into the Bet HaMikdash when you're high. Again, we're not about drunk, because on a revit of wine, you're never going to get drunk. We're talking about mamash. The person drank a revi'it of wine, he's already going to be chayav mita b'dei shamayim. He went into the Bet HaMikdash. When he drank a revi'it of wine, everybody, every human being. Number 5, umetu. Well, there's no question about that, yeah? Uvametu. What is vametu? The Tanya was learned in a Braita. Minayin l'revit dam sheyotza mishne metim she'im etameh be'ol. How do you know that if you have a revit of dam that comes out of 2 different bodies, right, that they passed away, that is going to be mitameh be'ol? Shneimar ve'akol nafshot met lo yavo. So you see from here, nafshot is mashma 2, and when it says met, it's mashma 1. So if you see from here that 2 different metim, their bloods are going to be nitzaref to a revi'it, and therefore if you have a revi'it of blood between the 2, that's why here we're talking about blood. Until now everything was wine, but that's what we said it had to do with the red, right? Because blood is red, right? So therefore, if we're talking about the revi'its and everything, these are 5 different things which are talking about the red wine or blood, which is red. And if a person does it, it's going to be the shiur of a revi'it. Next, chamesh shivarta. Now we're talking about the 5 whites. What are we talking about? Chalat Nazir umetzora shenifselu b'Shabbat. Again, this is all the 5 in one shot when he's saying this. So let's understand. Number 1, chalat. What is a chalat? When we're talking about revita logav and shemen chala for the korban todah. When you come and you bring the korban todah, remember that you're going to bring a revi'it of shemen. So you're going to bring 1 revi'it. Here it's of shemen. It's not a wine, because that was the first 5 was wine. Right now we're talking about oil. So it's going to be 1 revi'it of oil brought with the 10 loaves of the lechem chametz, and then the other loaves are of matzah. If you remember, there were 40 loaves, 30 of matzah, different types, 10 of each of the 3 different types, and then you have 1 of the type of the chametz. So number 2, nazir. Nazir. What does it mean? The nazir. The nazir. It says it's a revi'it of shemen for nazir. You also have to bring a revi'it of shemen for the nazir, right? So beforehand, when we were talking about the nazir, it was drinking a revi'it of wine for the isur. Now we're talking about the revi'it of shemen that the nazir is going to bring for his korban. Okay? Because he brings an aisle for the shlamim with 20 chalot, and with those chalot he has to put a revi'it of oil. Number 3, mitzorah. The mitzorah also, he's going to bring a revi'it of water with the mitzvah, right, with the mitzvah, which means that in order to purify the mitzvah, he's going to do shechita to the birds, that the blood you're going to spill into a kli that has water, and the water has to have a revi'it. Number 4, shenifselu. What does it mean shenifselu now? The Tanam we learned in Masechet in the Mishnah Milah, kol mashkin tmeim poslin et gviya brevit. All the mashkin which are tmeim, they're going to be mitztarfim one with another for a shiur of revit alug to be posel, a person, right, that's drinking them from eating truma. So therefore, if he has now, right, any type of liquids which are going to be tameh, it's going to come at revi'it. If you have 2 different liquids which were tameim, they combine together to a revi'it in order to disqualify a person from eating teruma. Obviously, a kohen that could eat a truma. Number 5, Shabbat. What do you do with Shabbat? The Tanam is we learned in the Mishnah, right? The Mishnah over there says, Ushar kol mashkin. Whenever we're talking about the shiur of liquids that you are going to be chayav for taking them out on Shabbat, is a revi'it, meaning that if you transferred a revi'it of liquid outside in the Reshut Rabim, you're going to be hayav. Obviously, we're talking about without an eruv. B'chol hashofchim b'revi'it, or also the shiur to be chayav, anything of taking out is going to be a revi'it, right? As we mentioned. So, as the Gemara, we just now mentioned 10 cases, 5 and 5. Yeah, hamsa. They're Tunisians. Yeah. So what happened was, says the Gemara, the 2 leka. Why you don't have anything else? You only have 10 things, and that's it. Kamanu. So he says, Va'ika, we have revi'it notlin yadayim le'echad va'afilu l'shnayim. When your person has a revi'it alug, that's netilat yadayim. You want to do netilat yadayim of bread. What do? You take a revi'it, and it's going to be even whether it's going to be for 1 person, even for 2 people, right? Va'afilu l'shnayim. So answers the Gemara. He comes and he says that, right? He says beplukta lo kamari. There, it's a machloket. Why is it a machloket? Because the din of revi'it netilat yadayim is not muskam according to everybody. Okay, but there he says that if it's going to be leftovers in the utensil, the beginning it had a revi'it, so now the second person cannot do it. So anything that had to do with the machloket, we didn't bring down. We only brought down the things which were 100% according to everybody, right? That it's going to be a revi'it. So says the Gemara, but you have another case. What's the other case? Imagine you're bringing a sapal of earthenware. You're bringing and you're taking half of a log of water from the kior. Rabbi Yehuda says, a revi'it, right? So again, what's the Gemara going to answer? The same answer. Here's a plukta. It's a machloket. You just told me that according to the first shita, it's going to be, right, chetzi log, and the other shita, Rabbi Yehuda says it's a revi'it of a log. So whenever there's a machloket, we don't bring down the machloket. So ask the Gemara, how much water are you going to put into urine in order to annul the urine that you're able to read Kriyat Shema? You cannot read Kriyat Shema if you have urine or excrement right beside you. What about if you water it down? So how much water do you need to add to urine in order to water it down? And now you're allowed to say Kriyat Shema. So he comes and he says, says the Gemara, Kolshu. Rabbi Zakai comes and he says, Revi'it. Again, the Gemara is going to answer, again, it's a machloket. If you just told me right now that there's a machloket, the first shita says you just put kolshu of water, it's already enough. And then Rabbi Zakai says Revi'it, we're not going to bring this down, but it's a machloket. Whenever it's a machloket, we're not talking about machlokot. Ask the Gemara, Va'ikam mikveh. What are you talking about? A mikveh, shiuro min Torah is Revi'it alug of mine. And with that shiur, right, you could come and you could put small utensils inside of this thing. So if right now you could put these small utensils inside this mikveh, so therefore at the end of the day, why didn't we bring down this mikveh? So answers the Gemara, bar me'ahi tebatru rabbanan. It's not shayach because at the end of the day, the rabbis came and they made a gezerah that even if you have small kelim, you're not allowed to use it because you always need to use a mikveh of 40 seah, which means this concept of reviot was only something that's alachal maseh until today. It's not, you understand, meaning that the rabbis came and they annulled it right away, that no, you cannot use a mikveh of a revi'it in order to come and put a small utensil, a fork, or whatever it is inside. No. You need 40 seah. And if you need 40 seah, so therefore we don't come and therefore we didn't bring down this concept. 38b. And you're not going to be chayav until you're going to bring from the grapes a kezait. Right? What does that mean? It says over here, we're talking about the Mishnah Rishonah Rabbi Kiva. According to Mishnah Rishonah, the Nazir is not going to be chayav malkut until he's going to drink a revi'it. But according to Rabbi Kiva, he says you're going to be chayav even on drinking a kazait, not only just a revi'it, but also a kazait. So says the Gemara, Tanakama lo medami lehon lechol yisurin nazir l'shtiyah. So therefore, the Gemara is going to say the machloka between Mishnah Rishonah, which is Tanakama, and Rabbi Akiva. Tanakama, he's not comparing all the Yisur Nazir to Shtiyah, and therefore he's not going to say that it's going to be the concept of the eating to Shtiyah. Because remember, eating is always going to be a kezait. Drinking is always going to be a revi'it. But according to Rabbi Akiva, since it's written, you're not allowed to come, you're not allowed to eat. Ma'achila kezait, kol asurin kezait. So he comes and he says like this. Usually the Tanakama says 1 second. Foods are always a kezait. Liquids are always revi'it. So same thing. Comes Rabbi Akiva and he says, no, 1 second. But it was written in the pasuk, vanavim, grapes, lachim viveshim, whether they're moist or they're dry. Lo yochel, you're not allowed to eat them. The fact that it said that we're talking about the grapes, and even if it's going to be moist, and it says everything to do with achila, so therefore, just like achila is always a kazait, so to here, the drinking of the wine of the nazir is going to be with a kazait. Okay? Nekuda. Fine. 2 dots. Okay? Until here we're clear. Yeah? Very good. The nazir is going to get lashes all for the wine by itself, and also for the grapes by itself, or for the pits by itself, or for the zagim by itself, the peels by itself. Meaning, if you came and you eat, right, each one, you're going to be chayav malkut, each one separately. He comes and he says, why does it say vanavim lachim viveshim? Why do you have to actually bring that? It's extra. Right? Just say vanavim lo yochel. Don't eat anavim. Why does it say lachim viveshim? To be mechayev azeh b'fnei atzmo, to be mechayev each one on its own. That means if you're going to eat them, whether they're going to be anavim lachim or anavim yeveshim, each one you're going to get a chayav malkut. So you're going to learn this by all these Yisurim Torah. Makan, just like over here, shehu min echad, it's going to be one species. The shne shemot and 2 different names. The chayav, and you're going to be chayav each one on its own. Of course, so to anything that comes out of the grapes, shu min echad, which is the same species, because at the end of the day it's all grapes. Then shne shemot, but it has different names. Chayav is everything that's one. You're going to be chayav each one on its own. Meaning, even though it's the same species, the fact that it has a different name, the name is going to obligate you malkut. So you ate dry grapes, or you ate the pits of grapes, or you ate the peels of grapes. Each one, even though it's the same species, it's all grapes. But the fact that it has a different name, you're going to be chayav kol min bifnei atzmo. What if it's? It says the Gemara, grape seed oil. Grape seed oil. That's what it was. Grape seed oil. So says the Gemara, that comes to include chamra chata, new wine, right? Ve'inve and anavim. What does it mean? That it has the same taste. Right? That means even though yain chadash and anavim have the same taste, nevertheless, you're going to get 2 different malchiyot. Why? Because anything which comes out of the grape, right, that you're eating is also called 2 different names. One of them is anavim, one of them is the yain, one of them is grapes, and one of them is wine. So you're going to be chayav in both of them. Amar Abaye comes and he says, if you come and you eat kezait of the pits, lokesh time, you're going to get 2 different lashes from them. Right? Why? Because it says mechartzanim ve'adzag. What does that mean? It says malkut achat on the isura klali of mikol asher yasem yigaven yain lo yochel, and also from mechartzanim lo yochel. So it's basically you've got like the general and the specific. The general is don't eat anything from grapes. You get 1 set of lashes. Second set of lashes, you ate the chartzanim. Achal zag, the same thing. If you ate the zag, which are the peels, lokesh time, you get 2 of them. Again, mikol asher yasem yigaven yain is a klali ve'adzag lo yochel. Right? Achal chartzan v'zag. What happens if you ate a kezait of the chartzan and kezait of zag? You get 3. 1 kezait for the zag, 1 on the kezait of the chartzan, and 1 for the klali. Right? So therefore you get 3 of it. Okay, you understood? Now you understand why if you were going to eat 1 grape, right? Rava says no. You're only going to get 1. Because you never get lashes on a lav on the klalot. What does that mean? When you're over and isur klali, you never get lashes. So therefore, you would never get lashes on something which is going to be like a general. Meaning, mikol asher, mikol, what was the pasuk? Mikol asher ya'aseh migebran yain lo yochel. That's a general rule. So since it's a general rule, you never get lashes on the general. On the specific, yes, but not on the general. So Mati, Rav Papa comes and he asks, Rabbi Lazar Omer Rabbi Eliezer says, Nazir sheyashote yain kol hayom, eno lechayav chayil echad. Imagine a Nazir is drinking wine all day. He's only going to be chayav once. Amrulo, they told him, al tishte, al tishte. They kept on telling him, don't drink, and then he drank. Don't drink, he drinks again. Don't drink, he drinks again. והוא שותה, חייב על כל אחד ואחד. Here he is going to be חייב on every single one. אכל ענבים לחים יבשים וחצאים וזגים וזכת אשכול שלם משתה. Imagine a person's eating dry grapes, moist grapes, the pits, the peels, and then he squeezes it into a cup, and he's also drinking. He's going to get 5 lashes, each one on its own. If so, why 5? It should be 6. One of them on everything which on the lav shebechlalut. So answers the Gemara, Tana v'shir. No, we left some over. That means even though we wrote down 5, really bemet it's 6. So says the Gemara, my shir dai shir. What did you leave over that you're telling me now that you left something over? So answers the Gemara, shir, you also was shir lo yachel devaro. Because when you became a Nazir, right, you made a neder. And the Kabbalat Nazirut is a neder. Now, when you come and you go against the Nazirut, you also get a lashes, a set of lashes, but you went against the Nazirut. Right? You went against your words. So says the Gemara, if it's going to be because of that, it's not a shiura. Kiktani, what are we talking about? It's something which is not in any other case. Lo yachel devaro ite b'nedarim. Lo yachel devaro is by nedarim, has nothing to do with Nazir. Lo yachel devaro just means you cannot profane your words. You went and you made a neder, fulfill your neder. If you don't fulfill your neder, you get lashes. It has nothing to do with the Nazir, it just has to do with the nedarim. So that's why we didn't bring it down. Okay, so Elmaleh Ravina mi Prazaki el Ravasha v'hashir de ben abinaim. What about ben abinaim? What does that mean? If a person right now, right, if he's eating the basar hananavi, you remember that we said, how do we know? We said that you had the pits, which are the inside, you had the peels. What about ben abinaim? What about the flesh, the meat? That's also going to be prohibited. So if that's going to be prohibited, why didn't we mention that? You should also get lashes on that one because you ate the flesh, which is the meat of the actual, like the actual grape in itself. So Elam of Papa, but rather of Papa says, Lo tanya mide chamesh. Behemet, it was not written with the word chamesh at all. Right? It just said, Achal anavim lachim v'shi chatzarim v'zagim zechad loke. It doesn't say how many times.
But as we said last time, it's obvious because the flesh is the grape.
Very good. So therefore,
we said the seed and the skin.
100%. So, but therefore, that's why you're going to get lashes. The question is, why didn't it mention how many lashes? So the Gemara says, you're right. We took out chamesh. We didn't have chamesh there. It just says you ate all these things, you get lashes. How many? We didn't talk about it. Because really, there's going to be much more. Right? There's more than 5. So says the Gemara, we're going to go to the Mishnah. Right? 39a. We're going to the Mishnah. He says, what are you talking about? But he asked that there were 5 times. So one second. If you're asking a question, why are you telling me 5? Really, it's 6. If it was never written 5, why are you asking the question 5? Meaning, if you didn't have the word 5 lashes in the bright, why in the world are you asking, why is it 5? It should be 6. Whoever spoke about 5. It's not written 5. So Amar Papa says, we said that it wasn't like Mamasha Mesoret. So therefore you retracted. Right? We didn't know that really Be'emet he had a Mesoret. And he didn't retract. Which means in order to know Be'emet, the words of Abaye, whether it was like a Svara or a Masoret, whether it was just a logic or he had a tradition, Rav Papa came and he said, you know what? We're going to put in 5. And therefore he asks on Abaye, right? That if Abaye comes and he has a Masoret that you're going to be loke on Nisu Klali, he wouldn't retract, right? He would have just answered. But he says, L'maaseh, after he saw, right after Rav Papa saw that Abaye did not retract, he knew that Be'emet he had a Masoret on this. And then Rav Papa came and he said, okay, so Be'emet it was not written 5. Meaning I asked on the word 5, really Be'emet it's not written 5. But he had a Masoret. What was a Masoret? That you do get lashes even for a lav shebechlalut. You do get lashes even on a lav, which is a general lav. Okay? That's what he comes out. Okay? Fine. Just the 2 dots says, Rabbi Elazar ben Nazir Yomer, Rabbi Elazar ben Nazir says, Amar of Yosef says of Yosef, Keman metargeminan, right, mipurtzanin v'aditzurin. Who are the ones that says, right, because at the end of the day, we are going to be metargem to Aramit these words, mechatzanim v'adzag, they are going to be metargemin, mipurtzanim v'aditzurin, from the zra'im ad the klipot. That means you see from chartzanim is zra'im, the pits, right, and the zag is a klipot. So he says it's like Rabbi Yosef, that he's the one that holds the chartzanim or the zra'im, and there's a gimra the klipot. Because if you remember, we brought down that there was a machloke between Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda held chartzanim were the klipot, right? Like chitzonim, right? Chartzanim. And the anavim, the zagim, are the zraim, right? Like the imbel. But then Rabbi Yosef argued. So how do we know that the targum is going like which shita, like Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Yosef? it's going like Rabbi Yosef. That's how we're actually going, like that basically the zag is the outside, right? The peels, and the chartzanim are the pits. Even nowadays in modern Hebrew, chartzanim are pits. Have a wonderful day.